iHeartRadio, JoePags.com, also Newsmax TV. Glad to have you along for the ride on the Joe Pags Show. Always glad to have Marc Lotter back. He, of course, the former press secretary for Vice President Mike Pence. He's also a confidant and was a special assistant to the president. Mark, it's always an absolute pleasure. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's always good when it's a Jobs Day Friday.
It really is. I mean, I've been looking forward to these. When Obama was the president, we didn't look forward to him. I want to jump into the jobs in a second. I want to jump into that incredible economic report in a second. But I think the headline just about everywhere, if you watch and read news online and just about anywhere else, is that it looks like June 12th in Singapore is back on. Did you expect that this would be back on after that letter was sent out by the president?
When you saw the very next day that North Korea started walking back their talk and started to play ball again, I think this is once again where the president showed he's willing to do whatever it takes, even canceling the meeting or getting up and walking out. It's we're going to do this on our terms. And when you saw them immediately backtrack the next day after the president sent that letter, I thought there was a good chance they could get it back on track. And today we've seen that it is going to actually happen on June 12th.
I have rarely seen, and I don't know if the president himself penned it or if he dictated it to somebody or if he got help. I don't know. But I've rarely seen a letter written better. We would love to have peace. We would love to get this done. It's too bad that you did this. Because, I mean, basically what Kim Jong-un was doing through his media, the state-run media, was attacking Mike Pence. And I have no idea why he thought attacking the vice president made sense. But in the letter, he basically covered, my nukes are bigger than yours. We'll wipe you off the map. But we want to have peace, and we'd still like to get together. So let me know if you still want to talk. What was it that Mike Pence allegedly did that caused the first reaction from North Korea? And do you think that letter was written that way to get the exact result we got?
I think their original problem was with the references by the vice president and among others to a Libya type of outcome. But really the thing that really got that, and obviously the insults to the vice president were unwelcome, but with that letter, a letter from Kim, the statement actually insinuated nuclear confrontation, which is something when you add that on top of the fact that they left our delegation cold, they were already in Singapore to begin the meetings on the logistics. They never even bothered to show up. They said that they would not have a problem with routine military exercises. Then they did have a problem.
Right.
So there were a number of steps that they had taken where they were backtracking. It's great to see that they are now back to the negotiating table, wanting to talk. And as the president showed today, that he's willing to be a recipient on those talks. But the outcome is clear. A denuclearized Korean peninsula. It won't be easy. It will take more than one meeting, as the president said today.
Yeah.
And there could be a number of steps that have to be taken over a long period of time, but we'll get there.
It's Marc Lotter, was an assistant to the president, still very close with the administration, the former press secretary for Vice President Mike Pence. You know, Mark, we talked about this a little while ago right before we hit the air, but the media doesn't know what to do with this story because the media said that Trump sitting down unilaterally or bilaterally, I guess, with North Korea, something that President Obama said he would do when he ran for president, and he never did. But the fact that he's going to do that means that Kim Jong-un is using him as a puppet, and Kim is the puppet master. Then when Trump canceled it, the media freaked out. How dare he cancel peace that we all wanted? And now that it's back on, what's the spin going to be? Because they can't like anything, even if it's 180 degrees, the polar opposite of what it was they said they didn't like to begin with. They still have to not like it. What are they going to say? What are they already saying?
You know, they're already starting to raise a specter that we're not going to get what we want, that North Korea will play us. And I got to tell you, the president has been absolutely clear on the expectations. He also understands that North Korea has a history of saying one thing and then doing the exact opposite.
Right.
So if North Korea truly wants to be a partner in denuclearization, if they truly want to rejoin the community of nations and become a prosperous country, they've got a willing partner with us and our allies under President Trump, but they're going to have to show it, and it's going to have to be verifiable. We're going to be able to, and it's going to have to be real this time because, as they know, this is a president who means what he says. He said it today. There are hundreds more sanctions we could apply to them on a very short notice, which will make it even tougher for them, but he's not doing it. We're not relieving anything we've already done, but he's not adding anything new while they're at least at the table talking.
It's Marc Lotter, former press secretary for Vice President Mike Pence. Let me expand upon that a bit. Mark, you and I are pretty smart guys, and I actually do give the media credit for being intelligent, but I think they're intelligently fraudulent sometimes. I think they're intelligently telling, mistruths half the time. But we have gotten everything that we've asked for so far. You got to release our hostages. He does. You have to stop doing nukes. He hasn't tested one since last year. You have to not worry about our military exercises. He's cool with that. I mean, Kim Jong-un has done just about everything except, jump in a circle that Donald Trump has asked him to do. So what exactly is the media talking about? What has North Korea gotten from us at all? Anything? Nothing, right?
Nothing. And I'll tell you, I was on Air Force 2 last year with the vice president in April when we were on our way to South Korea and they launched a ballistic missile test.
Yep.
We were actually in the air. We've seen them stop the testing of their ballistic missile technology as well. So far, we've given up nothing. The maximum pressure campaign remains in place as it did prior to these talks and the discussions of them. Now, all of a sudden, all we've got right now is an opportunity to sit down, talk, and really get to the heart of the issue, which is making sure that the Korean Peninsula is free of nuclear weapons and stable, and it's cost us nothing to do it.
On Twitter, it's at Mark, and I believe it's _LOTTER, right, Mark?
Correct, Mark with a C.
Absolutely right. Go and follow him. He's a great follow. Incredible stuff you'll see him on television all the time. You'll see him write these incredible articles. And what a great education I get every time we speak. Let's talk about Jobs Friday. Again, under this president, 3.8% unemployment, the lowest we've seen since 2000. We saw many more jobs added than were predicted. I mean, by I think 20 or 30,000, maybe more. And a number that jumped out at me that I love, and I want you to expand upon all this if you can, is that this president, just since he's been in office, has already eliminated 27,000 government jobs. So what we as conservatives want is lower unemployment, more people working. We want a smaller government. We want more freedom and liberty. The guy's been nothing but hitting it out of the park. Talk to me about the numbers you saw today.
The numbers were absolutely outstanding. It was 223,000 jobs versus the 188 that was expected.
Right.
But here's when you really dig into the numbers. The unemployment rate for African Americans and Asians is at the lowest that's ever been reported. And the gap between the unemployment by the white population and the African American is the closest it's ever been since they've started measuring that number. Unemployment for adult men, adult women, teenagers, all the lowest levels since 2000. And here's a very important stat, and it shows that the president is committed to helping everyone along the spectrum of all Americans. The unemployment rate for those with a high school degree but no college, it's the lowest since June of 2001.
Wow.
So if you're out there, you just graduated from high school, your college isn't your thing, you want to get a job right out of high school, you've got a better shot right now. And for even those who are graduating college and want a job, this is the best shot you've ever had in your lifetime.
And it's important
for young people to remember that.
Well, it's a real hit to people like Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton. They all said you have to go to college. Bernie Sanders wants to give everybody free college. If you don't go to college, you have no chance of surviving and succeeding. The fact is, Mark, my dad was a blue-collar guy. Many people in this country made this country what it is and built it to what it is through great vocations. Vocational, school, by either being an apprentice somewhere and learning a trade or going to a vocational school is just as good and in some cases better than college. Why have the left been so successful in making the American people believe you must go to college to have the American dream?
Well, it's probably because at the same time they were shipping all of our manufacturing jobs out of the country to other countries in hopes of their global liberal world order.
Yeah.
And that's something the president said he was going to reverse, and we just saw it in today's report. 18,000 manufacturing jobs were created last month, over 330,000 since the election. And here's an even more important stat. It's kind of weedy, but we're seeing hourly earnings go up 2.7% in the last year. For non-management people, it's 2.8%. That's the largest increase since basically the Great Recession. So paychecks are going up for the people who do have jobs.
Yep.
And as this labor market tightens, more jobs are created. We're at full employment. It's going to put even more pressure on employers to raise wages,
pay more, yep.
Increase benefits, to attract workers or keep the workers they've got.
I just a quick aside here, because I think you'll find this as funny as I do. The Democrats who think they're going to have a blue wave in November, they're running on this campaign issue. We're going to raise your taxes. I'm dead serious. They're running on the campaign issue. It was horrible that Trump lowered taxes. By the way, my boss's taxes are lower, so I'm making more money. My taxes are lower, so I'm keeping more money and spending more money with my family and on stuff I want. The Democrats actually think a winning strategy is we're going to raise your taxes and you'll be happy. Oh, and we're going to impeach the president. What are your thoughts on those stupid campaign issues?
It's just, I mean, they're grasping at straws. Between that and impeachment, that's really all they've got. Let's remember, Hillary Clinton predicted that Donald Trump would destroy the economy. It looks pretty good right now. This is not the Armageddon that Nancy Pelosi predicted. And I think the American people are seeing it. They're seeing it in their paychecks. They're seeing it when companies are announcing new jobs coming to their neighborhoods and their cities.
Right.
This is a good thing for America. And I think despite everything else, more people right now feel confident about the direction of our country than they did even before Obama took office.
At MARC_LOTTER. It's Marc Lotter, former press secretary for Vice President Mike Pence, former assistant to the President of the United States. One last quick question. Ivanka Trump, I don't know her. I know the president I've interviewed 7 times. I've interviewed Eric even more than that. He and I are pretty tight. I don't know Ivanka. I hope to have her on the show eventually. I can't think of one thing. Now, I can say some things that the president said that were out of line in the minds of some, or were a little bit, maybe you should have thought before you said it. I can think that about Don Jr., I think certainly. Eric, not as much. But Ivanka Trump, I can't think of one thing she's ever done that anybody on any side would ever see as worthy of the attack she received this week. Do you have any idea why this Samantha Bee, who I couldn't pick her out of a lineup. I don't even know who this person really is, but she's got, I guess, a weekly show on TBS. Why was Ivanka Trump the person who should have received that sort of disgusting attack verbally?
No, I don't think anybody, regardless of their politics or where they believe, deserves to be called that name.
Yeah.
I don't think any woman deserves that. And I'll tell you, I've had the privilege of meeting her and talking to her on more than one occasion, and her husband, Jared. And I'll tell you, Ivanka is a formidable woman. She is so smart, so intelligent, graceful, welcoming, and she's just such a great person to be around, that regardless of the politics, we should be able to celebrate women who can be successful, who can also have a great family and combine work with being a parent and all the things that she is balancing and championing kids and the success of kids. No one should be called that, and especially not Ivanka.
Mark, it's always an absolute pleasure and an education. We appreciate you stopping by. Let's talk more as we get closer. It's only 11 days away now to this summit. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. And I love your take that it's not going to all get done in the first shot. And I think the media probably will complain that it doesn't all get done in the first shot. So let's talk about that next time.
Absolutely. Look forward to it.
It's Marc Lotter. Go and follow him at MARC_LOTTER, former assistant to the president, also the former press secretary for Vice President Mike Pence. We're back after this on the Joe Pag Show. Stay right here.